find yourself rushing to send trade transaction documents before bank's cutoff time? Are you having trouble tracking your transaction status? Do you dread going through endless phone calls just to find out your available balance? Well, you don't have to anymore. Introducing the Alliance BizSmart mobile app, the first in Malaysia that lets you submit trade transactions anytime, anywhere. No more hard copy documents. Submit everything online. Track your available balance and transaction status online. Fast disbursement of funds within 24 hours upon approval. Just follow these steps. 1. Log into the BizSmart mobile app. 2. Key in the transaction details. 3. Upload the documents and submit for payment authorizer approval. And 4. You will receive a notification upon approval. Now, you can spend more time on growing your business. The Alliance BizSmart mobile app. Speak to our dedicated relationship manager to find out more.
Enterprise data. It's your most valuable resource, but managing your data is challenging and complex, and it's not generating enough strategic value. Your data is siloed, and it's fragmented both within those silos, as well as across data centers, remote offices, and clouds. Multiple point solutions to manage your data further compound the fragmentation problem. You also maintain multiple copies of the same data, which is inefficient and expensive. And your data is dark. It's almost impossible to see what you have and where it's stored. To extract any value, you have to move volumes of data across silos and locations. All these challenges create a significant problem for the enterprise. We call this mass data fragmentation. At Cohesity, we take a revolutionary approach to bringing value to your data. We looked at how hyperscalers like Google answered this challenge in the consumer space. They consolidated consumer data onto a web-scale file system and added a layer of manageability to make it appear as a single platform. Then they exposed the value of that data through apps and services. At Cohesity, we are doing the same for enterprise data. We start by consolidating infrastructure with a software-defined web-scale platform. And just like Google first focused on building a great search engine, we focused on creating a great backup solution across clouds and data centers. Then we eliminated additional silos by bringing together your archive, file shares, dev test, and analytics. We provide one global management console so you can search and manage all your data from a single interface, no matter where it lives. Next, you can run apps and services to run your business-critical needs, such as ransomware protection, compliance checks, analytics, e-discovery, and much more. All in a single software solution that spans your data centers and multi-cloud environments. Cohesity, data management redefined.
Today and every day, you are doing the impossible. in a time that's been completely unpredictable. You're doing it with so little time and under so much pressure.
Yeah, definitely.
You are juggling and jabbing, mobilizing and modernizing, remote learning and emphasis on the learning.
Sorry, guys. I don't know how to turn this thing off.
You are traveling and transforming, researching and resilienting. Okay, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. You are watching and welcoming, opening and, oh, wait, now you're closing, and now you're opening again. For businesses around the world, it's a real challenge because increasing disruption comes with increasing complexity and an increasing need to have today's problems solved yesterday. That's why businesses are rethinking everything. Using hybrid cloud and AI with IBM, they're working not just productively, but predictively. Automating processes to simplify the complex, keeping private data protected, and adapting to ever-changing consumer habits. In a year that was like no other, businesses are taking a scientific approach with IBM to invent, discover, and solve problems like no one else. There's a lot to do, but together, we've got this. Together, we push, prove, demo, dare, work, wow, solve, spark, think.
Change happens, with or without our input. It can be imposed upon us, pushed at us, mandated. But we can take control and transform with intent. We can choose to embrace change, openly. To us, change is a state of being, not a box to check. It's the journey and the destination. It's a wider view, revealing better business outcomes. But the path is critical, because you can't change the whole without transforming the way. So it's time we leave impossible behind and open possibilities. Let's use open technology to work smarter. Let's open the process for efficiency and freedom. And let's build an open culture on empowerment and collaboration. Together, we can put digital transformation into practice. It can't happen in a vacuum, but an organization can transform using an open approach. With Red Hat, you can open your future. Open your technology. Open your process. Open your culture. Open possibility.
Visa pioneered the electronic payments business more than 60 years ago, envisioning a world in which paying for something could be translated into electrons and photons that move across the globe at the speed of light.
The consumer may access an infinite range of goods and services whenever he chooses, wherever he may be.
Today, there are 3.4 billion Visa credentials around the world, from the largest cities to remote communities across the globe.
Hi everyone, good afternoon to all of you, and we hope you had a good lunch break. Welcome to the second session of Star Media Group's Digital Financing Live Virtual Conference. Whether you are tuning in from WebEx, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Myra Baiti, and I am your host for this two-day conference. Just a quick technical reminder for WebEx viewers: to optimize your view of the conference, please go to View on your top left and untick Show Participants Without Video. If you're watching this from Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, or anywhere at all, how are you? We hope you continue to stay safe and well as we enter the second year of the pandemic. And we'd love to hear from you. Let us know how you're doing and where you are watching this from. Type it in the chat box below in the comment section. Let's engage. In commemoration of Star Media Group's 50th anniversary, the Digital X Data 2021 Road to Malaysia 5.0 series is dedicated to enabling digitally powered businesses to accelerate growth in the nation's digital economy and to drive innovative change amongst the society in building a human-centered nation, powered by disruptive technologies. The Digital X Data 2021 Road to Malaysia 5.0 program consists of three main events: the Smart Retail Live Virtual Conference that was held back in March, the current Digital Financing Live Virtual Conference, and the upcoming Smart Government and Public Services Conference that will be held in September. This event series will lead to a 4-day grand finale in November that will feature Starbiz Summit as well as the Playground. I hope you're excited with all the Digital X Data event programs that we have lined up. And if you are, great, let's collaborate. Please connect with us at events@thestar.com.my to learn more about the Digital X Data events, the speaking opportunities, and partnership opportunities that you might have by leveraging with our integrated events and media services. All right, so let's talk more about this current conference. Today's conference is themed Powering a Cashless Economy. You will learn from this conference programs on the innovations, advantages, and the risks of digital financial services within the accelerated digital economy development in Malaysia. We will be discussing the disruption of traditional finance to make financial services universally accessible and in molding a more resilient and transparent economic system. This two-day conference program is powered by 30 forward-thinking multinational thought leaders, business decision makers, industry experts, and subject gurus who will be sharing and discussing the road to shaping a cashless economy and powering a cashless society. To learn more about the conference agenda and all this, to see all of the speaker profiles, you may scan the QR code on the top right of your screen or go to bit.ly/StarDigifin. That is StarDigifin. All right, guys, we are now moving on to the exciting portion. Well, one of the exciting portions. We would like to announce the prize draw winners for this morning session. And for those of you who just joined us, yes, you heard it right. All you need to do is stay with us till the end of each session, and you will stand a chance to win these cool prizes at each of our 4 sessions of the event. So let's see who are the winners from this morning session. For the Samsung Galaxy Fit 2, you guys can drum at home. The winner is Foon Kin Leong. For the Samsung wireless charger pad, the winner is Kimi Fang. And for the Samsung Galaxy Buds, the winner is Muhammad Surya Doshi. Congratulations to all the winners. And our events crew will be contacting you separately after the event for the arrangement. Now, let's take a look at the program lineup for this afternoon session. Our Terabyte partner Red Hat will be kicking off this session with a sharing session on going cashless, going hybrid, the open source way. And it follows with a presentation by our guest speaker from kiplePay, who will be presenting on the topic of championing financial inclusivity amongst the underserved. Very important. We will also wrap up this morning with a panel discussion on financial cybercrime, which has been something that has been cropping up in our discussions the whole day today. That panel session will be powered by AirAsia, Cybersecurity Malaysia, Mizuho Bank, Red Hat, and the panel will be moderated by Boston Consulting Group. If you're excited with the program lineup of this session, we would love to hear from you. Please type in the chat box or in the comment section below, and let's get to know each other. To learn more about the conference agenda, I remind you, or any of the speakers, you may scan the QR code on the top right of your screen or go to bit.ly/StarDigFin. All right. Before we start, we have a few quick housekeeping matters before we begin. Those who have joined us from the morning session, a little bit of patience. Those who are new, we would like to let you know. We would like to say that after more than a year of participating in webinars and online events, as well as annoying, meetings with your bosses and your colleagues on Zoom, you and I know that there is always going to be an unforeseen risk at any live online events or digital interaction. So if anything happens, we do ask for you to be patient. If you have any technical or internet glitches, but no worries. If you do need any assistance from us, we're there. Please chat with our events crew, or you can also email us at events@thestar.com.my and we'll come rushing to your rescue. If you have any questions for our speakers, you may post it up in the chat box or in the comment section if you are viewing this via Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. If any of our speakers do not have any sufficient time to address your questions, we apologize, but the question will be passed to our speakers and they will address it separately offline. Lastly, and most importantly, before we start, here's a reminder to continuously engage, learn, and enjoy. We will kick off this program with a sharing session by our Terabyte partner Red Hat on going cashless, going hybrid, the open source way. Our speaker, Danielle Lee, is a business and technology leader with 20 plus years of success strategizing and leading large organizations, startups, in various transformation and business initiatives. Her experience spans across global FSIs such as Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of America, Bank Julius Baer, and UOB, one of Asia's largest banks. Danielle will be coming up soon, so stay tuned and we will be back shortly.
Because we've been this way from the start. Because the solution for one can be harnessed by others. Because clouds that compete can still connect. Because innovation needs collaboration. Because a revolutionary approach to software can transcend enterprise IT. Red Hat. Our code is open.
Good day, everyone. I'm Danielle from Red Hat's APAC Transformation Office. I call myself the Agile Drifter because I like the agility of fast and furious cars with good performance and stability. Similarly, at work, I believe in the ability to innovate with agility, scale, and also stability. My experience has largely been in banking, having done various transformation programs in some of the largest banks in the region. One of the most exciting digital transformations I've experienced was when we built a mobile-only bank. The transformation journey was exciting as we transformed an incumbent bank with legacy systems and processes to become an award-winning challenger digital bank. It is a mobile-only bank that achieved the third highest Net Promoter Score, which is the third highest NPS score, within a year of launch. With this, today I'm sharing some of the learnings as part of the various digital transformations that I've experienced, going cashless and going hybrid in the times today. What we'll discuss today? Today we will start with the current FSI industry trends, the expectations and reality of building the digital bank, and some experience sharing on what some of the key differentiating capabilities are to build a digital bank, the software factory, if you've heard of it, and a call to action to consider, and some of the customer successes in digital transformations that we've seen. We'll wrap up the session with some next steps that you could take. Let's take a look at what's happening in our world today. Our world has changed overnight, hasn't it, with the COVID-19 pandemic, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately as well to some extent. Who would have thought that washing hands for 20 seconds, wearing a mask, is now a behavioral trend in our communities? QR payments, digital banking, and digital banks have become a norm. Even my parents, who are in their 70s, they are now familiar with mobile banking. My dad basically came to me one day, can you teach me how to do this? On his how to download the app and how to use it. And they basically stopped going to bank branches. With going digital, concerns on hygiene of carrying cold hard cash in this pandemic times are in many ways being addressed with digital solutions such as QR payments and all this e-commerce and all that, and the ease of having things delivered to your doorstep. That has pretty much changed the world today. We have also seen many people in various industries embracing remote work, and that seems to be also working for them. Most industries, including the FSI industry, is experiencing strong forcing functions that are impacting both the goals and the execution of IT organizations. Let's take a look at what's happening in the banking industry. Everything from open banking to mobile technology being everywhere is changing how the way banks think about their interactions with customers, and many are making changes to adapt. Integrated and seamless customer experience has become an expectation to provide a frictionless experience for end users of different demographics. Imagine, it has to be easy enough for something like for my older folks in their 70s, like my parents, to use, catering for millennials who have a totally different need, and that's what we're talking about. FSIs have to cater for expectations such as customers wanting flexible payment options, such as installment plans at the point of sale or through an e-commerce channel when they are purchasing something. They are not going back to the time when a customer waits for 5 to 10 days for a credit card to show up in their mailboxes before they can purchase something under credit. And the bigger challenges, if you take a look, last but not least, for the FSI industry, are big tech players such as the likes as Alibaba, your Alipay, your Ant Financials, neobanks such as Kakao, Wise. They are initiating a new wave of disruption, forcing banks to operate with greater speed, skill, and non-negotiable stability. These big tech players are moving into financial services without the constraints of legacy processes and technology. Because of this, they are able to harness more efficient, customer-centric business models that deliver value quickly. This trend is happening both in emerging markets and advanced economies, and that from a line of business point of view. It starts with basic services such as real-time payments, and of course, we're seeing more and more of like micropayments and loans to cater for customers who want that flexible payment options at the point of sale. Security. Security is something not to be forgotten. Enhanced security through artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is basically your AI ML, for early fraud detection. That has also become crucial across businesses, as businesses are scaling across the globe with digital. That is blurring the boundaries across the world. Big techs, if you think about it, they can already leverage this data that they already have on customers and are also moving upwards in terms of complexity of service and value with distribution of financial products with greater speed and improved customer experience by using data and analytics a lot more effectively. With this, there's a lot of lessons that we could learn from these big tech players causing this new wave of disruption. And if you think about it, this is also a threat to incumbent banks. To keep up with the industry, FSIs basically need to go from experimentation to now rapidly deliver new digital capabilities and services faster, and not compromising scale and stability. As we shift to rapid scaling up of digital capabilities, the expectation of building a digital bank and opening banking up with open banking, offering to partners and customers via an API strategy, has basically focused the technology debate on more solely of API management. This is definitely an important topic, but on its own, API management capabilities do not turn a technology platform into an open banking digital bank platform. Many are also embarking on progressive core banking modernization. This is using things like agile integration and all those things to basically form a strangler pattern to form modern services in a distributed manner to modernize the core banking, because we obviously can't change a core banking system overnight. Until that happens, there are various strategies to go about that. The reality, I think, looks something like this in terms of building a digital bank. Number one, take a look at the bottom layer, having an enterprise container orchestration platform. Enterprise container orchestration platform. All right, I just repeat that. That will provide portability, elasticity, and security across different infrastructure platforms. And that is basically the ability to run across our bare metal servers, our virtual machines, which are our VMs, private cloud, or any public cloud like Google Cloud or AWS, or your cloud of choice. Number two, layer on top above that, that's basically an automated operations layer, thinking along the lines of everything as code, where we kind of code and script everything, and that helps with efficiency, standardization, and compliance. And of course, automation will help significantly in the efficiency of things that people are doing manually to something in an automated fashion. Number 3 and 4, right? Adopting cloud-native application development and agile integration. And this is across your API management layer, which is actually interacting with your external parties and your partners, whether it's your e-commerce partners, various partners, to be able to bring data from outside to inside. And hybrid integration and service mesh that helps with our speed to market with the needed resiliency. As I reflect on my journey and lessons when building a digital bank, as well what some of the big techs are doing, there are some key differentiating technology capabilities that I think are for digital leaders to consider and seriously consider. The first one being platform scalability. I remember the sudden spikes in digital volume that we experienced as customer interactions shifted from bank branch meetings to video meetings. People are shifting to mobile applications and online banking services because people are not going to branches, right? And taking a look at the architecture and application landscape, the cloud-native systems could manage the load automatically, but we were facing some challenges in handling the volume in the legacy integration layer and some of the legacy applications. They were obviously not cloud-native. The legacy application teams, were basically scrambling as we could not scale easily to the cloud, and the bare metal infrastructure scaling was already maximized. These scalability issues, they impact customer experience and customers, as you can imagine. While many FSIs are looking at the FSI cloud-first strategy, considerations for a scalable cloud-native container platform, such as OpenShift, running on top of a hybrid cloud infrastructure, this really provides us with a single pane. And this single pane helps us to manage workloads in an agnostic manner across servers, VMs, private cloud, and the different public clouds, right? And the ability to scale accordingly in these different environments, I think that is something that is important to consider, because the ability to scale also not brings about cost efficiencies, but not impacting the customer experience, which is ultimately what matters. And we can do this. The hybrid cloud infrastructure helps us to give us the ability to write code once and run on any cloud environment without any lock-in to any environment. And that is the beauty of it. Number 2, cloud-native application development. And you hear me talking a lot about it in the coming slides as well. This enables the development community to have access to a standardized, integrated, end-to-end application development stack that supports efficient, portable, cloud-native development. We'll talk a bit about this, and I'll share a little bit about what cloud-native application development in a little bit deeper in the next few slides. The third important pillar that we see is advanced data analytics engine. Data analytics includes AI/ML capabilities, enables improved and personalized customer experience. And this, if you think about it, taking outside in data and then forming insights to generate inside out data, this helps with things like targeted advertisements, the next best offers, and catering for the right demographics and what really customer needs in a more specific and targeted advertisement way, right? There are also efficient gains that we are seeing through processing services automation. So some of these manual operation activities, such as loan processing and fraud detection, is being enhanced by AI/ML, and they are doing it a lot better than humans trying to do this in a human and manual operation way. Last but not least, across these three capabilities, we have agile integration. This is an open architecture platform enabling hybrid integration. And hybrid integration is integration of data across your old systems, your new systems, all the different systems, your partner ecosystem. And this is to build more personalization to customer by leveraging multiple data sources, whether it's structured or unstructured, across the organization and also outside from the partner ecosystem. By now, you would have already probably heard cloud native development being called upon quite a number of times. If you were to speak to 10 different people, you'll probably get 10 different answers and ideas of what cloud native development means. Some have said that cloud native development is development on cloud. In our view, it's a couple of things. It's starting with development built on a microservices API kind of architecture where services are loosely coupled. Modular apps that are easier to build, deploy, update, and change. This also supports distributed application, which kind of speeds up development in a large scale, and the ability to scale is really there with this. Containers and orchestration platform, where we write once and run anywhere. We don't want to be writing something so specific to a particular cloud, and you find that you're not able to port this into a different environment when the time comes for various reasons. And I've seen this as well, experienced this, and that could be different reasons like commercials and all those kind of things. So we want that ability to be able to write once and run in any environment. That shouldn't be a showstopper and cause to actually repeat what you have already done and spent on and invested on by doing a rebuild, right? So, and we built basically what happens is that we built this high density modular applications with containers. And with this, applications are actually fault tolerant by design. And we can also observe advanced application deployment methods, such as your blue-green deployment and canary deployments to support zero downtime deployments. In terms of process, organizations that were most successful in agility, and I've experienced this, and various studies in Gartner and all those things have also said they have been successful in agility by adopting a DevSecOps process. This is basically a lean, collaborative, and fully automated software delivery lifecycle. To summarize, our point of view is that cloud native development are applications adopting the principles of DevSecOps, continuous integration, continuous deployment, which is your CI/CD practices, to create microservices packages as containers orchestrated by platforms running on top of a hybrid cloud infrastructure, and a hybrid cloud infrastructure spans across your multi-clouds, your VMs, and bare metal. In the previous slide, we mentioned DevSecOps CI/CD practices, which is your continuous integration, continuous deployment practices. As we build all these key technology capabilities, we also need to look at how we get this from ideation to production for the customers. The Trusted Software Factory looks at building hybrid functional teams. They are cross-functional teams across the entire software delivery lifecycle. And this includes people from the business, from your development teams, from your architecture teams, from your operations teams, and across security as well, shifting security left. And have people enabled, and have this people and team enabled with the right tools and automation with new ways of working alongside a trusting culture and some form of governance. Technology is not enough. It is also culture we must affect. Knowing the behaviors required for any successful transformation is one thing, but making them happen is another. And I can tell you it's definitely challenging. Imagine a development leader who issues a standing end of day order for team members to check in code, the other team to code, another team to test, another team to send a test report, another team to provide your acceptance, and deploy code to a shared environment only if the test succeeds and give you the right results. But think about it. What if the team member checks in and deploys the code, but they forgot all the steps in between, inclusive for your QA and security and all those things? Most organizations they lack the safety measures to enable, accelerate, and enforce the right behaviors. So we think about it, the whole concept of the soft factory is about business requirements in and business results out. This kicks off our modern app development method in requirements gathering and design, specifically things like behavioral driven development, more often known as BDD, test driven development, better known as TDD, your likes of event storming priority sliders, just to name a few, right? And I'm sure as part of this agile practices, you will have observed a few of this. And in the open source community, we have open practices as well. Do check it out. Developers develop basically against this, pulling from a trusted code repository as a baseline. And on check-in, code will always go through these stages in the continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline. Automating your quality, your security scannings and the vulnerabilities, and providing an automated quality assurance acceptance. This provides a body of evidence to humans in the loop, authorizing the software to go out and back to the requirements backlog, ensuring constant traceability. Moving to production, the code is now an application, a piece of software that is trusted and stored back in the trusted code repository for reuse. We have an immutable image infrastructure, basically, where this is moving throughout, and all the standard processes across the CI/CD pipeline is every time when you check in the code, and all these processes are being done. In production, we are performing continuous monitoring and security again with traceability to the requirements, inclusive of feedback from the users. So this is pretty much like a conveyance belt, right? That functions in a smooth manner. And this tightly bound workflow forms what we call the trusted software factory. It accelerates the recommended behaviors to lead digital transformation efforts, and it can automatically enforce policy requirements for testing vulnerabilities, architecture and governance. Development and deployment becomes repeatable and reliable. And the foundation of this is basically the Red Hat OpenShift factory. To sum it up, hybrid is how the world innovates. Almost every organization is faced with new challenges and opportunities as the world economy becomes increasingly digitized. It becomes a choice of transforming the existing business models to rise to the occasion or allowing competitors. We have to rise to the occasion, or this basically allows competitors to step into our market segments in the FSI industry. Digital transformation is no longer optional. To sum it up for today, the reality is that solutions that support hybrid is how the world innovates. Just to reflect a little bit, do you have a crazy mix of new and old when it comes to applications that you need to run your organization? Do you have huge existing app portfolios that are built with traditional architectures such as your monolithic, your N-tier, traditional monolithic ESBs even, and traditional languages such as your Java, your .NET, and C++, and even some mainframe applications, right? In addition, every one of enterprises is building new applications or modernizing some form through your microservices and APIs with newer languages and frameworks such as Quarkus, Spring, and Node.js. Organizations have hybrid applications. Every interaction between a company and its customers emerges through a mix of technologies touchpoints, as well as existing and new applications. With this, every app must deliver more anywhere. This includes everything from foundational services and your system of records, such as your core banking, to greenfield applications and greenfield innovations, such as your mobile applications, powered by emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and in machine learnings, your chatbots, things like edge computing and 5G and beyond. And not forgetting all that, and we spoke about this as well, we need agile integration to support hybrid integration across application services, both internally and externally. The call to action I would see, do take a look at a microservices architecture, cloud native development, and agile integration to address a solution as to be a solution for hybrid applications. Looking at environments, and where are you trying to run all these applications that run your business? Is it the cloud? Is it on-premise or bare metals, or is it your VMs? The reality is probably to move faster with stability and scale, we probably need all this crazy hybrid mix of applications, processes, and infrastructure. And this is what we call hybrid environments. Applications basically run on top of an increasingly hybrid infrastructure. Apps are located in the data center. They could be in your public clouds, in multiple public clouds, in the private cloud, and at the edge. Innovation requires modernizing an organization's existing technology while we're creating a path to cloud-native app development. And with this, do take a look at what we call hybrid cloud infrastructure. Teams. I always say this, right? Don't digitize your bank. Digitalize your people and enable them with the right technical practices and tools, and they will digitalize the bank for you. How can you help basically your business development, architecture, and operations teams work together to efficiently deliver software with speed, stability, and scale with consistency across hybrid environments, across your clouds and everything, right? How can you provide flexibility and consistency to allow teams to efficiently build where software are best suited? Do you support distributed development operations teams who needs to deliver roadmaps with agility, adopting agile processes with CI/CD, and help cut down manual processes and accelerate app delivery? The truth is, we probably need to take a look at something called the DevSecOps processes, which I spoke about, along with what we call a software factory. And this vertical integration of DevSecOps across your development, testing, and delivery with proper tooling supports the process in a seamless way so that the developers can focus on building banking solutions and not busy making the technology work. Focusing your time on the right things and where it matters. So DevSecOps and software factory, something for us to take a look at in terms of hybrid teams. Many FSIs are already on their cloud native journeys. Let's share a few of them today, and the names might be familiar to you. Alliance Bank Malaysia Berhad has won many awards for its digitalization efforts. They have implemented a microservices-based architecture on a container-based digital banking platform with agile integration. This has helped them reduce project delivery time to 2 to 6 months with agile practices and eliminating redundant, resource-intensive processes. The business result is significant. Alliance Bank's branch in a tablet solution lets individuals open a savings account and activate their debit card, internet, and mobile banking in as little as 15 minutes. Enterprise clients can open a business account digitally in 1 day. With the right cloud-native platform and agile technology practices, the Alliance Bank CEO has quoted that Alliance Bank has strengthened their digital capabilities with improved customer engagement. Looking at another one, MBank. MBank was also named a winner in Red Hat APAC Innovation Awards of Malaysia as a bank that adopted open culture, which is, as you can all appreciate, is an important part of any digital transformation journey. They have implemented DevOps processes resulting in improved speed to market and business agility. The bank has used Red Hat OpenShift platform to build a continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline for its applications and DevSecOps CI/CD process. They built a new app on this cloud-native platform, and this helps them automate compliance processes such as credit, risk, and company checks. These are non-negotiables in a bank, as we can all appreciate it. This reduces complexity of the onboarding process and minimizes the number of visits to physical branches and address SME customer churn. Probably the greatest achievement was how the platform and new ways of working cultivated greater culture of collaboration across teams, and this also helped them reduce overall defect and improving quality. The CEO of Mbank Group has shared how DevOps practices enabled by Red Hat Open Innovation Labs and a hybrid cloud-native platform, OpenShift, has helped them accelerate their digital journey. This is indeed a very powerful statement. We pretty much have wrapped up the session, and we hope you find this session insightful. If you're keen to discuss more on open banking, we've planned for an exciting and interactive C-level virtual roundtable on the 29th of June. Hit that register here button now, and this is where we'll be discussing on open hybrid cloud approach towards building an open banking ecosystem. If this interests you, we have also included some links and learnings from all our various digital transformation failures. So these are the learnings that came from various people and collectively putting this together in a paper on how to avoid digital transformation failure. Along with that, we have also included a download link on the first steps on how you can take a look at modernizing your apps. Or if you're already in your transformation journey, this is also helpful to see how you can progress this further and accelerate your digital transformation journey. If you're interested to find out more on how to innovate with speed, scale, and stability, and whether it's the technologies that we've spoken about and the platform stack that we've spoken about around cloud-native development, DevSecOps, agile integrations, and hybrid cloud infrastructure, do contact your representative at Red Hat Malaysia. We have provided the email link there and email contact there. So we hope to see you soon and hope to get in touch with you soon. Thank you for tuning in today, and stay safe.
Change happens, with or without our input. It can be imposed upon us, pushed at us, mandated. But we can take control and transform with intent. We can choose to embrace change, openly. To us, change is a state of being, not a box to check. It's the journey and the destination. It's a wider view, revealing better business outcomes. But the path is critical, because you can't change the whole without transforming the way. So it's time we leave impossible behind and open possibilities. Let's use open technology to work smarter. Let's open the process for efficiency and freedom. And let's build an open culture on empowerment and collaboration. Together, we can put digital transformation into practice. It can't happen in a vacuum, but an organization can transform using an open approach. With Red Hat, you can open your future. Open your technology. Open your process. Open your culture. Open possibility.
Very much, Danielle, for that great presentation. That was a great jump into the realm of open source. Now, for our next speaker, this is the acting CEO of kiplePay with 19 years of experience in Asia digital space. Ricky Liu has worked on digital platforms specializing in advertising, social media, mobile e-commerce, virtual currency, and digital wallets. Today, Ricky will be talking about championing financial inclusivity among the underserved. So stay tuned and we will be back shortly.
Hi, this is Ricky. I'm the acting CEO for kiplePay. So in today's world, digitization has become a necessity for many to survive. I think during this thriving times during the COVID pandemic, we have seen especially the underserved segments who have limited access to financial products and also digital services, having a hard time to adapt to the changing environment of today's world, right? So in this sharing, Kipo zooms into what we have done so far in helping the underserved to go cashless and to help them thrive in today's economy, right? So let us have a run through on the ecosystem of kiplePay. So what we envision is actually an inclusive, unified payment platform that will create a cashless community throughout our e-payment ecosystem and e-wallet services. So what you see here, aside from the typical e-money or e-wallet service that we have under kiplePay, we have our payment gateway services, and we have extended throughout the whole ecosystem and its digital value chain, if I may say so, is that we have introduced new eKYC technology. We've introduced new platforms that will assist traditional organizations to transform digitally, either from their administrative or the financial management perspective. And also, we have also created platforms to assist our government entities and partners to fund and to distribute aid among the community. So these are the few segments that we have been working closely with, right, to drive financial efficiency. The typical online services that we have evolves around our payment gateway and wallet payment services, where we work closely with a lot of e-commerce marketplaces, right, such as what you see on screen, like Domino's, e-ticketing, and also other retailers that sells online. For the offline portion, what we did was we built a series of app-based solutions, right, that actually help our retailers to create a digital ecosystem. For example, things that involves payment, loyalty, and even white label e-wallets, right? And predominantly for kiplePay itself, we thrive in the education segment, where we work closely with government universities and also entities like PTPTN to help drive digital transformation in the education segment, especially in the universities ecosystem, right? And you notice on special projects, you will see logos of banks and also some of the government initiatives like KISS. This is where we work closely with financial institutions and also state governments to create programs on how we can facilitate aid distribution to the B40 segment, right? And on the bottom right, you'll see the Visa logo on the page. That also means that we are a issuing license entity under Visa to issue prepaid Visa cards. That will be a crucial part of these programs that we have rolled out with the government and also financial institutions, right? So a bit on the university portion. What we are doing with government universities is not just introducing the e-wallet payment options and the payment gateway services. We actually help universities to transform digitally throughout their operational platforms. So mainly the financial and also administrative portion of the services. In universities alone, it is a huge ecosystem that deals with asset management, student onboarding, and even welfare within the university communities, right? And what we have done with universities is beyond that. We have also assisted the university to actually help benefit the surrounding ecosystem as well. So surrounding the universities, you will find there's actually small communities of small merchants, small and micro merchants, which derives their day-to-day business from the university patrons. So what we did is to also empower them with digital payments platforms to allow them to be able to accept digital payments and also to run their business online. So this is an important part of the end-to-end services that we roll out in our digital campuses. Moving on to something that's very close to our hearts, where it's involving the part where we help a lot of the B40 segments in Malaysia. So we work closely with a few state governments, namely Selangor, Perak, and Kedah, in their B40 programs, where we distribute over 150 million ringgit a year to over 100,000 recipients across the three states. So what's important here is that we took a different approach to the digital ecosystem in this segment. Typically, aside from distributing the aid to the recipients, we also take an effort to also make sure that we benefit the grassroots community. When we say grassroots community, it means the local merchant ecosystem. So when funds are distributed to groups of B40 recipients, for example, in a village, in a kampong, we make sure that we also onboard the merchants within that kampong, so that we can actually grow the local economy and also help these merchants to grow, right? And this is the 4th year running now since we've been running the program, for example, KISS, and we have seen merchants that grew from a small condo to a shop, right? So a shop lot, and from operating as a family business, right now they employ up to 4 to 6 employees, right? So creating employment, creating new business opportunities, and also benefiting the local community is part of the fringe benefits of running such a program, right? And we look forward to actually grow this program a little bit further, and we try to explore with more states on this. And at the same time, we also would like to enhance the whole platform by introducing more digital touch points to it. So at the same time, aside from eradicating poverty, we are also helping the country to develop rural Malaysia. So that's the summary of pretty much of what we do with the state governments. And along with that initiative, last year we also embarked in a couple of interesting projects that help to benefit the underserved. So one of it is actually the Warungku project, where we actually worked very closely with the Gabungan Penjaja dan Peniaga Kecil Melayu Malaysia, or GPPP KKM, which is supported by SME Corp and MIDAC. And in this program, we aim to actually to digitize, or to help more than 100,000 merchants to digitize their business and their operations. In view of the whole COVID pandemic, businesses needs to find an avenue or to create new touch point where it can ensure the continuity of their business. And with this in mind, we also would like to also encourage more and more people from the B40 segment to actually take up entrepreneurship by starting their own small businesses. So with this program, we also launched the Warungku Rider project together with the Gabungan. And with this, aside from digitizing the businesses, we also created job opportunities for over 15,000 riders, right? And we are happy to really play a part in this ecosystem. So kiplePay, in this particular effort, initiative, we are the key terminal supplier, and we also help equip all these entrepreneurs with a unified payment app. So on the right-hand side, you will see the initiative by Digital Perak. So Perak is actually another state that we're happy to say that they are quite forward-thinking in terms of how to create more opportunities for the hawkers and also micro merchants to open up their businesses. So it's one of the first states to actually digitize their business permits in terms of the permit application for the micro merchants. And kiplePay is proud to be a partner to help facilitate this. And at the same time, just like all the other projects that we do, we ensure that all merchants is also equipped with a digital payment touch point, right? Via either a mobile phone or a payment terminal to accept payment for their businesses. So aside from payment, what we provide is also a new service for these merchants to grow their business, which is an online ordering capability, and also a small online storefront for them to list their products for consumers to browse and consume, right? And as for the Sri Lanka project, it is a big initiative from the Sri Lanka team and also the Selangor state government, whereby we work closely with Sri Lanka to actually white label a new payment app that will enable all the micro merchants and merchants, small merchants alike, which is registered on Sri Lanka, to actually be able to accept cashless payment at ease at no cost, right? So basically, most of these merchants who are enrolled on the program right now have access to be able to receive payments from all major e-wallets in Malaysia, as well as credit cards coming soon, right? So this is actually a big initiative that will benefit close to 30,000 merchants if it's rolled out successfully. And the future for us is basically a lot to do with the whole unified cashless ecosystem. What we envision is aside from the current services that we have introduced, we would like to introduce more financial products out as well, including microfinancing, and also the ability to work closely with financial institutions to actually deliver more accessible instruments or facilities for small merchants to thrive. Particularly if there's been a lot of talk on microfinancing, but we also look into the opportunities to provide invoice factoring and also other fringe services that will help the businesses to grow by leveraging on the ecosystem that we have already built, right? And looking at the trend where consumers are dependent more and more on mobile engagement, we will introduce more and more mobile applications and solutions coming soon to actually facilitate the lifestyle requirement for either users and also entrepreneurs alike. So that's all from me today. If you have any questions, do feel free to put them forward. I'll be very happy to answer them for you. Thank you.
Hey guys, so thank you so much for all your questions. I see a lot of you were interested in Ricky's presentation, so he's here, and we're gonna have a little bit of a Q&A session with him. First of all, thank you to everyone for all the questions that you sent in. Ricky, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's do this. First question is from Tatiana from WebEx. Hi, Tatiana. Thank you so much for your question. Her question is, focusing on the B40 segment seems to be a big part of kiplePay's initiatives. Is financial inclusivity a part of kiplePay's mission?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, yes. We have been working very hard on new products and services. Not just kiplePay alone. We are working closely with a lot of our bank partners to see how to roll out more products to actually help small businesses out there, right? Financial inclusion, the products that we are looking at is basically a lot of focus on the micro SME segments, right? How do we help small businesses and micro merchants to stay afloat, right? So looking at microfinancing products and even more solutions to help them to digitize their business. I mean, financial inclusion covers a lot of stuff. I mean, not just about access to financing products, but it's also accessing to a lot more affordable or free solutions, right? That can help them operate their business a bit better.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's really, really important, especially with how everything is moving, changing so fast right now. I think it's great that you provide that service. And thank you, Tatiana, for that question. We have another question from WebEx as well. Wow, thank you guys from WebEx. So this is from Ridwan. The question is, has the pandemic been a key accelerator for kiplePay to increase their initiatives for the B40? If yes, why? What do you think? What do you think, Ricky?
I think, yeah, definitely. I think the pandemic has actually accelerated adoption, right? Previously, I mean, if you look at the same group of merchants that some of our guys on the ground has approached pre-pandemic, they were a bit skeptical in adopting new technology, but ever since the MCO kickstarted last year, we've seen a huge take-up, especially on some of our products that actually assist the merchants to receive orders online, engage their customers, and connecting them to projects that the example that I've shared, which is the Warung project, give the merchants on the ground more access to delivery services that help them to fulfill their customers' purchases. I think definitely, yes, we see a huge take-up in terms of the payment gateway and also the cashless payment products.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Also, I guess the government kind of, it's been a difficult time for everyone to adapt, but I guess this is a good opportunity for us to expand the digital markets into the B40, which is great. I remember when the first, I think when the government first came out with their outline, they outlined like a few things to help propagate, I think, more cashless payment options in order to avoid COVID-19 infections. So that's been a unique opportunity. So we have another question from May, also from WebEx. And the question is, how are funds distributed to the B40 through the aid distribution project? And how has this impacted the local communities versus the traditional way that it's been done?
Well, I think traditionally, if you look at a lot of the welfare projects in the country, typically you apply for it, and once it's approved, the funds will go into your bank account, right? And this has been going on for many years, and there's little oversight in terms of how you spend the money. So just to give an example of the aid distribution project that we did, which is a great initiative from the Selangor state government at first, which is the KISS program, right? That will give you guys a bit of an idea how we are doing it right now. Funds are distributed to consumers who actually have applied, and once approved, we will issue them a card. So for us, when we do e-wallet, it's not just via mobile app. Our e-wallet is accessible via a physical card as well, right? So what we did with the card is that we preload the card with their monthly disbursement amount, right? And they can actually spend it at participating merchants, which we have to onboard. And these are the merchants on the ground, the grassroots merchants, the kedai runche that your local kampong and all that when they join the program, we will actually assist them to actually digitize their POS system, right? So they need a system in order to redeem the funds. So what we have done is taking it at next level, right, where the funds is only allowed to be spent on daily necessity products, right? So if you were to purchase your day-to-day rice, milk, and for example, if you want to add on a pack of cigarettes, that's not allowed, right? So the purchase can't go through. So we have a control mechanism at that level. At the redemption level. So recipients don't have to worry. All they need to do is make sure they have possession of their cards. Each card is actually tied into their IC. And there's a unique identifier on the card itself. It's a chip-based card where you use it to redeem your credits when you spend. So typically it's via the card. What we look forward in the future is actually to have more mobile phones. Then they can actually access it via a mobile app. If they want to use the card, we still have that traditional method. I think you will see new programs being rolled out soon, where you see the government will probably announce new programs. I think very soon, in a couple of months, then you will see a couple of new touch points that's been introduced to the market.
So I guess, Ricky, the impact that it's had on the community is increase of access. Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely increase of access. So I think the idea of the funds distributed is not just to the hands of the recipients, right? But it's also to make sure that we have an ecosystem in place whereby it also benefits back to the merchants on ground, right? So this is a little different from the other programs that you see out there, where you're giving credits and you spend it on e-commerce and all that. But the program that we are running right now with the state government is basically to make sure that we have an ecosystem where the economy is circulated within the grassroots setting, right? So you have merchants on the ground who benefited from it, and we make sure their businesses get to improve and get to grow as well. Right.
Oh, thanks. That's amazing. That means the merchant as well as the consumer both benefit from this group. That's great. Awesome. So we have one more question. Oh, this is about the Warungku project. Noor from WebEx. Hi, Noor. Thank you. So Noor from WebEx asked, in which states have the Warungku Ride project been implemented?
I think we since December last year, basically we have launched in 4 states, right? So Klang Valley being one, then you have Perak, you have Malacca, and I think recently up north in Kedah as well. And I think the Warungku team is looking to really expedite the launching a bit more in every state. But unfortunately, the MCO has restricted activities for the launches. But definitely, I think touch wood, if they are back to operating at full speed again after this June MCO, I think we will see more and more states kicking off, right?
Oh, I'm into that. I think we're all hoping for that. Thank you so much, Ricky. We still have a few more questions for you.
Right.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are so awesome online, sending us all these questions. We have one from Tan Su Ling from WebEx. I guess the question is kiplePay only for vendors, receiving payment only and not need to make payments to others as well? So I guess it's a clarification on the process for kiplePay.
Right. I think right now we're pretty much positioned as a payment platform, right? I mean, from a merchant perspective, we do enable them to be able to receive payment, right? But we do have other products that will allow payment disbursement and distribution as well, right? And also we have consumer products coming out soon. For example, we've been teasing about our prepaid Visa card for quite some time, and that's something we look forward to really launch together with Visa very soon. And there will be other products which I'm not supposed to say right now, but you just have to watch this space and look out for what we're going to launch in a couple of months. But definitely, it's beyond payment, right? So it's about facilitation of the entire payment ecosystem. Yeah.
All right, Tan Suling, you heard it here first. We've got new products coming. We have another question from Ishta Omar, also from FX. Is there any plan to expand to similar states, similar other states, such as KL, Pahang, Kelantan, Terengganu, Sabah, both on B40 distribution and micro and SME digitization? Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the project that we shared earlier, which is the Warungku project, right? It's actually a nationwide project, and we are kicking off phase by phase. So technically, we will go into a lot more states right now. Activities to actually deploy is on a month-to-month basis. So I think it will reach some of the states that you mentioned very, very soon.
All right, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
We have two more questions, I think. Keep it coming, guys, if you guys have any questions. The next question is, how much does it cost for a B40 vendor to go cashless using the kiplePay system?
Right now, the system that we have built is embedded in a few of the programs that we have been working with. So I would suggest if you are a small vendor, and you run a F&B stores and all that, do reach out to the Warungku team, right? And essentially, sign up is actually free of charge, if you remember. Right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just participate. There's a sign up process they have to go through. But once it's approved, basically they need to validate whether where's your store, what sort of business you're running, and then once it's approved, they will send a team to onboard you, right? So there's a series of paperwork that you have to go through. But don't worry about the paperwork. Basically, it's meant to facilitate small merchants, so it's not as tedious as the conventional approval process that you've seen, right? In many of the states is free of charge. So if you're in Selangor, you can sign up for the Selangor Biz program as well, right? So I don't think it's expensive. Most of these programs are free for the merchants to sign up.
All right. Thank you so much for the answer. And thank you for the question, Kelvin Yong. If you want any extra reading, perhaps, I think previously one of the panelists in the beginning did mention how cash, if you're thinking of switching from cash to digital, how cash economies are slightly more expensive. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bank Negara released an article a few years ago, so you can also read up on that. We've got another question for you, Ricky, from Chu Xiao Chin. What kind of support or services does kiplePay provide to help universities adopt a cashless society?
Oh, okay. So for universities, typically there's two level of services that we provide, right? Depending on the requirements of the universities. So the typical one would be to sort of automate the financial process. We need to do with payment collection and reconciliation. So we have a platform for that to facilitate both online and offline. And of course, if they have other modules, for example, e-learning is a big thing right now during the pandemic, right? If they would like a system to actually facilitate the payment collection for the classes or the education module, we have that as well. So it really depends on what the university is looking at. in our experience in the last 4 years in deploying with universities, I think we noticed that there is different needs and requirements depending on the bursary, depending on operations, administrative. So it really depends on how the university wants to digitize, right? And we have relevant solutions for different tiers.
Thank you, Ricky. I, for one, we used to have these vendors around the area where we would have our lectures. Sometimes I would forget to bring my wallet and I'll be hungry the whole day. So here's hoping that one day I can go to a university where I can pay those vendors with my phone. Okay, so we have one last question from Jeffrey Liu from WebEx as well. Hi, Jeffrey. Thank you for your question. His question is, does Kipple see more usage on the card or the mobile version for the B40 programs? Would you see smartphone penetration as a concern for more mobile adoption?
Great question. Because right now, really depending on where we are, right? Even when we look at B40 segments, you can probably still slice the B40 segment into different tiers, right? Typically, depending on the geographic setting of the population, right, we still see card as the key driver, the key medium, because simply because the ecosystem does not really, a lot of the areas are not equipped with the infrastructure for connectivity, right? So typically, it has to work on both ends, where the users need to be able to transact at the merchant end. So typically, in geographic areas when we assess when there's no suitable or strong connectivity, we will recommend a card.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. So thank you. So your limit is connectivity. That is the limit. So constantly speaking issue. Sorry. Thank you so much, for being here with us, for your speech, as well as for answering all the questions from our audiences. And thank you so much for our audience members for sending in the questions. We hope that we answered all your questions. If we didn't, I will get back to you offline, because our time is almost up and we have to move on with the rest of the conference. But first, I want to say bye-bye to Ricky. Thank you so much. All right, bye. And also for everyone back home live, I'll see you back soon to facilitate the next speaker. So see you guys. Hi guys, Once again, thank you very much to Ricky for that great presentation as well as for the Q&A session. I am so happy that you guys all sent your questions and you guys want to engage with us. But we're not done yet. To wrap up this afternoon session, we will have a panel discussion on financial cybercrime that will be powered by a lineup of industry-renowned business leaders and subject matter experts. Now, allow me to introduce these wonderful speakers in a lineup for this panel. Our first guest is Pablo Sanz, the Chief Technology Officer of AirAsia. Pablo is tasked to bring products alive to fulfill the AirAsia version of becoming number one super app in ASEAN through an integrated data, product, and engineering approach to build better, deliver better, and keep learning. Our second guest is Colonel Sazali bin Sukardi, who is the Senior Vice President of Strategic Research at Cybersecurity Malaysia. Prior to joining Cybersecurity Malaysia, Colonel Sazali had served in the Malaysian Armed Forces for 22 years before retiring in 2009. Our third guest has 20 years of experience in IT management in financial institutions, Islamic banking, and corporate banking. Encik Nur Hisham Rusmani is passionate about cybersecurity, digital transformation, and emerging technologies. And he currently serves as the Chief Information Security Officer at Mizuho Bank Malaysia. Our fourth guest is the country manager of Red Hat Malaysia. Eric Kwa is responsible for overall sales and business aspects of Red Hat Malaysia, leading the country team to drive sustainable growth, as well as help in building stronger relationships with enterprise customers and partners. Lastly, but not least, our panel moderator, Elaine Schnu... Sorry. Last but not least, our panel moderator, Mr. Elaine Schnuley, has more than 25 years of previous experience in technology strategy, IT transformation, and complex solutions implementations. As the managing director, Elaine drives Boston Consulting Group's Platinian business in Southeast Asia. This panel will be discussing about battling the financial cyber threat in the age of Corona. Remember, if you have any questions for the panel, please send them over. All right, the panel is getting ready. Stay tuned and we will be back shortly.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me well? Yes, hello. My name is Alan from Boston Consulting. I'm very pleased to moderate this session this afternoon. We have a few very interesting in the cybersecurity space, covering a few industries. We got Pablo from AirAsia. We got Isham from Mizuho Bank. We got Ricky from kiplePay, which is wallet in Malaysia. We got Sazali from Cybersecurity Malaysia. And then Eric and Daniel from Red Hat, which is the open source enterprise. So very good. Thank you so much. So just to get started, as you've seen in the last, we've been in this pandemic since about February, March last year. And this has a big impact on the industry. Some have been affected more than some others. I will start with my first question: is that how do you see the impact that this pandemic had from a cybersecurity point? But then we talk about digital transformation. But from a cybersecurity point of view, you've seen a lot of impact. Then we'll talk about the regulation a little bit to see understanding what the regulator has done in Singapore, in Malaysia, but in APAC, understand a little bit how you've been affected, whether you found it interesting and useful, some of these regulations that came out. And then obviously a lot of the work has shifted from on-premise to on-site for employees, for suppliers, and so on. So I'd like to understand a little bit how you adjusted to this remote working and how fast. And last but not least, cyber threats and cyber attack have not diminished and not increased. So obviously you had probably to invest. So the question I really have with the cover is how do you manage this risk? So maybe we start with you, Pablo. I mean, you've probably been the most affected in the travel industry, right? Yeah, at AirAsia. So did you see, in any case, a resurgence of what has been the impact of COVID?
Yeah, I think we, on the travel side, we had very unique use cases of some cybersecurity attacks that had a origin in China and Vietnam, mainly, where they were arbitraging our fares. So in that area, we have seen a slowdown because that was subject to the international travel. So it slowed down some of our projects that we had to protect us against that. But we have used that time in order to build up our own tools in order to control this kind of attacks. And also, as you see, we are diversifying across all the spectrum. We don't do only travel anymore. We have our own part that does money, big pay, and all the e-commerce and delivery stuff coming up. So we are finding new use cases and new areas where we get impacted, and we are discovering new areas where we were not exposed and that have a potential fraud and cybersecurity issues little by little, right?
Interesting.
So I think we have migrated from an approach that was purely airline that slowed down to a much wider range where we are encountering a set of different problems, but the airlines, once the travel conditions are established and we go back to international, we will be prepared to these kind of new threats.
So for you, it's been an opportunity to discover or uncover some use cases that were not necessarily.
Correct. We discovered that, and also with the widen of the spectrum on our accounts, security, and so on, we have been reinforcing everything, moving from single factor authentication, double factor, and maybe triple factor eventually in the future, right? 2FA was the standard there, but
so you're ready to restart, yeah?
Yeah. We started 1 year and a half ago, and we have been building through this year, maybe slowing down some of the investment to be opportunistic on the momentum when we activate them.
Isham, from a bank perspective in Mizuho, because I mean everybody is connected, right? Is also the interesting topic by the supply chain. If you're a travel agent, you still need to make payment. You need a bank payment for the hearing. So what has been the impact for you at Mizuho in COVID-19?
Okay, Alan. Okay, thanks for that question. Okay, for the banking industry, not specifically for Mizuho. Okay, because there are tremendous impact due to this pandemic. Okay, because for those traditional banking where they have to come to branch to perform a transaction, our branches are closed as early as 1 p.m. Okay, instead of normally we close at 3:30. Okay, like that. Okay, that one is from one aspect from the customer point of view. The second point of view, there also we have a challenge for the staff work from the office. Okay, because staff work from office is common. However, due to this pandemic, the staff have to come. The staff who can come to office just 30% out of the 100%. So from the technology perspective as well as a risk perspective, we have to come up with so-called the work from home, which is not only for banking, but for mostly across the industry. Okay, and this working from home is not what I call is so-called new in Malaysia, because before the pandemic, there are just a few organizations which allow the staff to work from home, maybe just once a week or maybe once a month. Okay.
So were you prepared from an infrastructure to scale and to provide the scalability, the reliability, and the security for this increased remote work, or was it a challenge?
Yes, for the bank, yes, we actually, in terms of the infrastructure, we have been ready for the what I call for work from home, because that one is the ready infrastructure. Just a matter of whether we want to turn it on or not. Okay, because this work from home infrastructure, we are leveraging on because we have the parent bank. Okay, so we are leveraging the same infrastructure for working from home. That's all.
Right. Okay. And Sazali, on a broader front, because you have, I think, a view, given your work across industry, across line, do you have a view of what's been the impact on the COVID-19 for your clients, the people you work with?
Thank you, Alan. Based on my responsibility in cyber security measure, our task is to provide cyber security services and expertise to the stakeholders. So we can see that we are very much interacting with each other, not only in secure networks but also in public domain. So we have to look at the whole ecosystem, the whole supply chain, because vulnerabilities, risks do exist at any point within the network. And maybe, for example, certain organizations are secure, but when they are interacting with vendors, suppliers, they also have to look at security at the points where they interface. And these are the things that we have to look into. When we talk about cyber security, we have to look at the whole perspective, the whole ecosystem, not only on technical aspect, but also on the procedure process. And very important is the people who are behind the machine. So
yeah, I agree with you.
During this pandemic, people interact and communicate remotely. And we talk about acquisition of technology. But our worry is that we don't want to pose any obstacle or become a stumbling block of the technology application. But we must realize all these technologies are invented to provide convenient purposes. Not much security is emphasized at the first place during the invention or creation of this technology. So therefore, there are many vulnerabilities that we have to address at the first place when the technologies are invented. And to make sure cybersecurity are developed, designed, can be very challenging when we talk about interacting with various stakeholders, ministry, government ministry, industry, academia. So what we do is that we have to be very dynamic and very positive. All these things are part of our nature of job, and it's good to learn experience from this situation. And during pandemic, of course, now we are still under MCO, Movement Control Order. We are still working at home. So, and we must realize that during this situation, we are very much dependent on digital devices and connectivity. And the more we use these digital devices and get connected to networks, actually, the more we create attack surface. And therefore, the more we are vulnerable. So these are the things that criminals try to exploit. And sometimes even advanced attack, they start with simple attack at the very low level, targeting people. But ignorant and negligent, like phishing attack. So we have to look not only at the low level, but at the organization level, but importantly, at the strategic level where the attack comes from. So it is a ecosystem.
Thank you. Very interesting. I fully agree that the aspect of the organization, the process, are the most important, because what we see, right, is that about 70%, right, of the failures come from an organization point of view, not from a technology. Because look, these days everybody has the technology, right? It's just a matter of organizing yourself and securing the right budget to transform the organization. So very important. Is Eric from Ricky from kiplePay online?
Yeah, this is Eric here.
Hi, Ricky. Thank you so much. One question you are in the wallet space, yeah? Is that right? And so, how did you got affected from a COVID-19 perspective, and has cybersecurity been on top of your mind?
Okay, I believe this is Eric here. So,
Ricky is not here, right? From kiplePay, is it?
No, from Red Hat.
Oh yeah, no, because I was looking for Ricky. So Ricky, then the question for you is as a provider of solution, right, open source solution for the enterprise, a related question is that, have you seen a lot of companies embarking on digital transformation actually in the last since the pandemic, accelerating their digital transformation to be at the forefront of and be super competitive? What is your observation?
Yeah, so for us, Red Hat as an enterprise open source provider, in the past 3-5 years, we have seen a lot of companies started their digital transformation journey, and we all know they are due to a lot of reasons. Younger people are getting to the market with the newborn of fintech, insurtech, a lot of new innovation, which is coming to challenge traditional enterprises, right? But during this pandemic, it has definitely accelerated the digital transformation journey for a lot of customers that we've spoken to. I mean, we throughout this event, we all know, right? One is a company has to shift the way they deliver their product and services to digital services. So in the past a year and a half to 2 years, we have seen a lot of companies accelerating their the brick and mortar model into digital services. And with that, right, there comes with the key topic of what we are discussing. How do we beef up security? How do we make sure that our customers or enterprises are looking at security from end to end, including cyber threat? So from Red Hat as a provider, we start off at looking the development of incorporating the security feature with as early stage as our development cycle, right? I mean, compared to the past, we always leave it to the end. But from a customer's perspective, right, I think I agree with a lot of the discussion here, right? Security is not just about technology. A lot of the cybersecurity that happens throughout the exploitation of the processes and also the awareness of the consumer like us. So from Red Hat, a part of us just going in to provide the technology, we definitely work with our clients to look through each and every step of the process to make sure that the technology can handle that part of the process. And if not, right, the banks or insurance have to communicate well what are the potential risks that the user may come across using those digital services.
Interesting. I was hinting before that this is our observation as well, is that a lot of the stakeholders, the CEO, the board members are not necessarily aware or paying attention to the cybersecurity risk? And this is an open question for a lot of people here online. Is that also your impression or perception? And they leave it very often to the technology organization to deal with that. Is it also your perception, or you think things have changed, evolved in that way? So I'm throwing the question to anybody who wants to pick it up.
Well, if I don't mind, I can answer based on our operation with some of our clients. I think, like I said, as most of the customers that we work, with, have no choice but to offer their digital services. And at the board level, they also realize that when the banks or enterprises are exposing their services, they are also need to be aware of the threats that they're facing. I guess most of the CISO or the CIO, CTO that we've spoken about, the mind share as well as the education at the board level has also increased over the past 2 years, right? Security as one of the big topics, it becomes one of the topmost priority in their organization, and as well as how do they ensure, right, cyber threat are also being taken care of. I guess in a nutshell, we have seen a lot more acceptance at the board level that they need to make sure that overall security and risk is at the top priority when they embark on any business decision.
Hisham, how is it that Mizuho, is your CEO concerned about it, or it doesn't?
Yeah,
doesn't care much.
I tend to agree with Eric. Okay, because for organization like what you call like the bank, like Mizuho Bank, okay, we do have board awareness. Okay, for past a couple of years, actually, we have conducted a few awareness for board internally, as well as for the board director looking for their own source. Okay, so from that, we also have the regulators like Bank Negara Malaysia. They already come up with the regulators on the risk management in IT, which one of the area that they taken care actually on the governance, which include the board responsibility. Okay, where the boards will also responsible on the cybersecurity aspect, as well as to oversee the what I call the significant project that we want to implement.
That's right.
Yep.
No, I agree with you. There's been, and that's come to my second point, the regulation. We've seen the regulator, Singapore, MAS, ABS, HKMA in Hong Kong, the Bank Negara in Australia, APRA. They've been pretty active, right, during this pandemic, issuing new regulation to raise awareness again of the kind of threats and encourage their members, right, to think a little bit of what they should be doing. Now, the reaction to it has been interesting from my point of view. There's been some actors have taken a very compliance approach to it, tick the box, I'm going to do what the regulator do, and some have done, and maybe this is what Pablo was saying, like look at the use cases, what is possible, right, to happen, go beyond the regulation, right, beyond the compliance. So I'd like to get your view a little bit, whether you found this regulation useful for your day-to-day job and justify some of the investment, or you had already planned?
Okay, when we use the regulation as our pushing factor, that one, this is the so-called top-down approach, where we don't have a choice, but we have to comply with. Okay, because a couple of years ago, could be the cybersecurity is not the hot topic that everyone is talking about. Okay, however, after they can see after a lot of circular or monograph or even the white paper talking about the cyber risk is the first ranking or the top 5 among the operational risks that currently we have, then the regulators took into this area seriously. In fact, for Malaysia, recently we have the Malaysia Cybersecurity Strategy for 2020 to 2024 implemented for Bank Negara Malaysia, we also have the risk management in IT. Not only that, for what I call PayNet on cyber, PayNet on payment and settlement system provider also, they come up with the cyber resilient framework where all the members have to follow on it. Okay, so like it or not, so we have to comply with, and then at the same time, we must be at par in the industry as well as for the Malaysia as a whole.
No, I agree with you. It's better than nothing, and I think the regulator plays its role there. I mean, the maturity of organizations are different, right? Some are very aware, and they go ahead and invest and address the technology, the process, and the organization, and some are more back foot kind of approach to things and waiting for the regulator to tell them what to. So yeah, you see both. So Tazali, what is your experience? What have you seen in the market a little bit from a regulatory perspective? Has it played a role in kind of improving the cybersecurity posture of companies? Have you seen a lot of investment?
Yeah. We have to balance between technical and non-technical aspect, because at the end of the day, we have to address cybersecurity as a whole ecosystem. That's why in the issue of governance, all the various parties have to work together. Legal authorities, law enforcement, policymakers, technical agencies like us, academia for research, they have to work together, because we can have a very good technology in place, and we have a very good people that manage the technologies. But if we don't have effective regulations or legal system to enforce and to make sure people comply, those technical or training can serve no purpose. At the end of the day, criminals, they are always try to find ways how to penetrate our system, because they have motive. Criminals have existed in the past and they still continue now, and even more challenging in the future because of emerging of technologies. So it is our objective in the end as a cyber security community to make sure that these criminals cannot do whatever they want. So we want to arrest them, and at the end, we want to arrest and put them in the jail. But if we don't have a very strong legal system, these people, even though we know they are guilty, but in the end, we are not able to relate or connect their criminal activities and perpetrator, so they can escape unpunished. So it can cause frustration not only to the cybersecurity people but also the people, because there are so many cyber threats and we do so many arrests, but because of lack of credible legal systems, all these criminals can exploit the gaps and can escape unpunished. And the issue is that our technology changes very fast, and sometimes the legal system cannot cope with the technology changes. So that's why this is where all various parties have to sit down and discuss, and how we as technical people advise our lawyers, for example. The lawyers, they don't have the technical background. Their training are traditional. But yet, today when we talk about criminal, they are mostly white collar. They are using computers. They are basically technical minded. Technical minded. They have a technical expertise and knowledge. So we want to have a very strong legal system, and we must have qualified regulators and lawyers to deal with it. And they cannot do alone, because this is not their training. So
no, I agree. Everybody is part of it, and it's not a question of if, but when.
And now anything happen, customer or the victim can take legal actions. So they can sue the company, for example, especially when their personal information are compromised.
That's right.
Yeah, they can take legal actions. So it can cause more impact and implication to the industry or to the company. So regulation is very important, and we have to comply. Okay, thank you, Len. Thank you.
So one question I have is for everybody, and related to the remote working. Obviously, the current situation has forced many companies, right, to work remotely, and as we discussed before, this has increased the attack surface. do you believe this is something to stay? And you say Mizuho, you had already kind of a policy for remote working, if you said right, yeah. What about AirAsia? Is it something that you plan to continue? Is it kind of in the fabric of the company and the culture, the remote working, and as you address the risk related to this?
Yeah, sorry, I was mute. I think it goes against the company culture actually in AirAsia. But currently the status is that we are not going to work, and probably when we retake, we will be still in team A, team B, and there is a lot of exceptions with people that have kids and cannot bring them to school and whatever. I think at least my hope on the tech department is that we can give freedom to work from home, but the people wants to come to office. I have said a lot of times that we are a fun company to work with, a fun company to work for. I think there is a lot of things happening on the offices, and we would miss a very important part of the culture with a strict remote working policy. But I hope this crisis at least gets at the best of both worlds, that people want to go to the office, but it is free to spend 3 days in Bali working from Bali, if I may, right? So I hope that's the situation, the outcome. It can be another place that is not Bali, but I think that flexibility is going to be very key to retain also key talent going forward. Because the key talent, if they perform, it doesn't matter where they are placed, right?
Yeah. But related to this, I mean, a lot of companies got the challenge to adopting, not from a security or scalability point of view, but a lot of the process that they were going through, they were not necessarily suited to actually do it from on a remote location. Has it been your experience as well?
I think on the case of so when we have had the opportunity to go to the office, I think we feel safer in an office environment as an end-to-end process. If you zoom into the product engineering and data processes, we were in place already to do this. We have teams in Philippines, we have teams in India, we have partners in Vietnam, we have the main team in Malaysia, right? So VPN security was set up, and the processes are there. We work in sprints, we have daily ceremonies, and then everybody goes to do their job. As a developer and product community, I think we were ready. Actually, we have been ready for a very long time, right, to do this. When you attach that to the business needs and the need to react to something that is happening in the moment, I think we miss that human interaction, right? So I fix it by going for coffees with people that lives around me, right, in KL when possible, and basically I think the combination is the key. But we are ready to work remotely. We have been doing it for the last 3 years since we opened Bangalore office.
What about the others? Is it your same impression? Do you believe you're ready as an organization to work remotely, and that security aspects have been addressed?
I think it is going to become part of the culture, especially for the executive and top management. We don't work within office hour because the criminal, they don't have office hour, and most of the time, if they want to attack, they will attack during we are having holidays, so the good time. So we can see the trend during holidays and people are not in the office. These are the time they exploit the intrude do at once. So we must be able to set our mind. Working from remote environment is going to be a culture, and criminal cyber attack happen almost every single second beyond office hour. So we cannot say to the management, "Don't contact me if cyber attack happen," because it is not within office hour. We have to respond. We have to provide report, and we have to communicate and exchange information. And mostly happen after office hour, maybe during weekend or holidays. So it must become a part of the culture. And of course, in my experience, During our time in office, we brought down with meeting, so we don't have really time to plan and to do research. And most of the time, we prepare paper or document at home. Office normally we use for meeting discussion officially. So this is my view, and we have to be ready to adopt the culture of working in remote environment. And not only is convenient, it is the future. Thank you, Ellen.
So maybe one question more, 1 point more related to the investment, specifically cybersecurity risk, before we go to the Q&A, and we have quite a few questions from the audience, and thank you so much. So one of the observation is many companies have a very clear view on what they need to invest. Right? Have your project A to Z, very clear. Now the big challenge they have is to justify sometimes this investment to the top of the house. I'm not talking about the hygiene stuff, right? Okay, I'm talking about the special projects that require investments, and how do you justify this to the CEO? Because in the end, the board and the C-level needs to provide. So have you had that challenge in your organization, and how did you go about justifying this investment to basically reduce the would be keen to hear your view. I don't know, Isham or Pablo, if you want to comment, or Rosalie.
Maybe I will take this question. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, because to prioritize the cyber portfolio and the challenges when we want to present to top management or even the board, right? Okay, first we need to make them aware where are we. Okay, we must make them know our security posture. Okay, before we can introduce any new product or any new solution for them. Okay, and then we also need to in line with what are the business goal or the strategy for that. Yeah, and then when we know what are the business goal, and we can realign our security strategy into it. Okay, so the one is one point of it. Okay, the second point, when we are talking about the project, now because most of the company now talking about the digitalization, all that. Actually, digitalization not just about converting the current process to digital. Okay, actually they go beyond that, because when we are talking about the digitalization, conversion from the old process to the new process, actually we are only focusing on the technology, but we forgot about the people and process. Because when we want to apply the digitalization, actually the process also need to be changed. Because when we want to apply, example like the mobile apps, right? So the current process, maybe we use the what we call waterfall methodology. With this, what we call digitalization, we may need to change to the agile methodology, where we can change rapidly. Okay, so on top of that, we also need to ensure the product that we want to launch also usability for the user. Okay, without compromising the security. Also, what I call we need to ensure during the project we must always have in mind security in design. So the process, when we start developing the project or developing any new initiative, we must take into consideration that security must be in place.
No, I agree with you. I agree. Security by design is very important.
Yeah. So that one, from the process perspective, we also need to know from the other angle, which is from the people perspective, because the people must be equipped with the knowledge. They must be aware on the new process that they have to adopt. Okay, example on the agile, they must know how the agility works before they can they can contribute to the organization. Well,
but Isham, all this stuff is music to my ears and everybody's ears. My experience is a lot of the board people, the C-level people, right, in the end approve, right? Expenditure, do not understand it. They trust you, right? You know the how. Right? The question is that, say you have 5 million or 10 million ringgit to invest, yeah? Where are you going to invest? Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, they're going to ask you where to invest. What is the best things to invest in to reduce my security? That's basically the heart of the question. It's not so much on the how, where to put my money, right?
Yeah.
Like you do in any business project. That's the harder question for many organizations. Obviously, there are the compliance, things that you need to do, right? And this one is an easy one because you need to comply with the regulator and so on. But then there's additional things. And from my experience, it's been a challenge for many organizations, right? But I'll be keen to have the view of everybody.
Okay, to answer that, okay, that's why just now I mentioned about the business objective or the business goal versus the security posture. So these two must be in line, okay? The business, of course, as a board of director, they wanted to have a lot of profit kind of thing. And then they want to see when they implement one project, how fast the ROI is they're going to achieve. So when we present this, we have to realign the business objective versus the security requirement on that. Yeah, then.
Can I barge in, Alan?
Yeah, Pablo, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we come in an industry that probably is less hardly regulated than banking. It has different kind of regulations, and it's more on not on the digital side, but on the flying passenger side, right? So basically, we have cybersecurity per design in the tech that we build, right? We do our pen test before going live. We have we fix it. If not, we cannot go live. We classify our threats in priorities and whatnot. When we are launching anything or deploying anything, we do it automatically. But we realize that in order to adapt to all this business flexibility and follow the business in some way, right? In that sense, we needed to implement tools that would give us flexibility and it would help us prevent some business-related attacks because it's not everything is technology-related, right? As I was saying before, the arbitraging of fares, it's something that is related to the way we airlines manage our revenue, right? So basically, we have deployed the tools that give us the flexibility to do it. As a first step, we had people behind those tools monitoring this possible potential account takeovers, fair arbitraging, and other use cases that we have seen moving into the e-commerce space. But we are moving towards a more machine learning based open ecosystem where we can do that without people behind the scenes, right? By detecting the trends and seeing how these cyber attacks interact with our ecosystem and trying to detect machines behind those cyber attacks mainly, right? When it is human, everything becomes more blurry. But when it's done by machines, I think we have what we have done is a framework to allow us to protect our personal information and our transactions and our revenue against this kind of attacks.
Interesting. There is one. I'm going to go to some of the questions because I think some are really interesting. So the one from TJ related to the online payment, and it is true, right? Whether you like it or not, whether you do your shopping, you buy an airline, you go through payments. Now, a lot of these payments have a two-factor authentication, right? Authorization, yeah? You have a credit card and then you have a 3D, yeah? But still, the merchant do not provide 3D. It's like just 2D kind of authentication. So what is your view on this? Is it a regulator thing, or is it the merchant to impose on your supply chain to comply with the best security practice? How do you deal with this?
So a funny thing is we have 3DS in most, I would say 95% of our flows, right? But there are, and Malaysia is hard on 3DS. Actually, I can tell you an anecdote. We tried to turn off 3DS for one of our flows 3-4 weeks ago, and our rejected cards went to 30% from 11%, right? And this happens because some of the Malaysian banks don't accept no 3DS transactions. But it's a battle between security and convenience. I don't know if every time that I take an e-hailing, that I would like to, or I order food, I would like to be asked for my OTP. It has become convenient not to be asked for that, right? So, in my opinion, and I don't have any regulation, I follow regulation on that, but my opinion is that the user should be able to decide when it wants it on 3D or non 3D in some way, right? Like,
yeah, I agree with you. This is a risk on the user side. And it could have an impact on the bank, but also the side of
we allowed to do no 3DS the users 3 weeks ago, and the bank rejected all the transactions because I think there is a regulation in Malaysia that you explicitly need to accept in some of the banks that no 3DS transaction, right? So it was fun because we did it in order to apply convenience, and then Malaysian regulation it needs some tricks to make it happen, right? There are tricks to make it happen, but it's on the gray areas, just to be clear. So it's about fight between security and convenience, I guess.
So a little bit related to this is we all authenticate, when we work from home, using different means. Then the question comes is that, how about the device you're working on? Could be you bring your own device depending on the policy of the company. So is it something you allow? Is it if it's not a company provided device, you authenticate the device as well? How do you deal with that? Would be keen to understand. Maybe Hisham, whether you have a point of view from a banking perspective.
Okay, for Mizuho Bank, we have a policy that we cannot use our own device.
Yeah.
So each staff, they will provide with the company laptop when they want to access from home. Okay. On top of that, the infrastructure, we also include the two-factor authentication. Okay, so that when the staff want to connect, they have to authenticate via their mobile phone. Yeah, that's all.
By mobile phone, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else on the topic? Yeah.
We use Google ID, so any behavioral or perimetral authentication that it's available in Google, we can turn it on and off. Currently, we have two-factor authentication based on different scenarios. Even the devices, we have a big amount of Chromebooks, so you tag also into the Google ID for
basically this. You're using technology to help you and AI,
yeah,
the service provider. And I think this is a good point, because the risk, whether you have device provided to bring you on, will remain. There is always a risk. So this is something that the business has to understand and accept. But then of course, on the other side, you have to provide them, explain to them what are the measures you take to minimize this.
Yeah,
I think leveraging technology and AI is definitely a way, and this is what we've seen as well. In the a lot of the companies have adopted open source cloud services, because they really provide them then when it comes to security in terms of skill that they don't necessarily have within the organization. And I would say that's probably the main factor. But of course, resiliency, scalability, and so on. And related to that topic, have you seen a little bit of an acceleration in your digital transformation of the adoption of cloud? It was not something specific I wanted to mention, but just trying to understand whether the cloud services as seen as a mean to address some of these security challenges?
We are fully operating in cloud. We got rid 2 years ago of in-house services. And we are now maybe finding some trade-offs here and there where we go back for some things that are cheaper, but I would say that we are 99.9% cloud-based. So yeah, we didn't accelerate anything because it happened before the pandemic.
And Ricky, is it your observation also your clients here leveraging your platform? Are they doing it more and more on cloud, or you see some risk? I cannot hear you.
Okay, sorry, I muted myself. So from what we have seen, definitely in the past 2-3 years, right, we have seen an acceleration of our clients to consume technology as a service. And in fact, with the latest, My Digital Blueprint that being announced by the government, with the initiative of building a local data center by the public cloud player, that will accelerate more in terms of the from enterprises to move to the cloud. Now, very importantly, in fact, I just had a conversation with one of the CTO for a bank a few days ago. So even at the board member, right, when they present any of their initiatives, their younger board members are being appointed, and at the board level, they will ask the C-level, right, how come you are never considering to move your workload to the cloud? And this is what we are talking about banks, and banks are traditionally very, very conservative, right? But with the, with now a more clear guidelines from the central bank, as well as the availability of a local data center in the future, we are foreseeing a lot more adoption towards moving to the cloud. And very importantly, customers also know that a cloud journey is not just pure cloud journey, right? They have to make sure that they embark on a hybrid cloud journey to make sure that the platform that they choose are agnostic and secure, be it whether they run in the environment or be it when they run in the cloud provider.
Interesting. Is it Sazali, is it also your view?
Okay. My concern as a user, especially, I want to impose my cyber security needs. So, of course, the challenge of course, cloud is the trend of current technology, but the issue is how we impose our security requirement on cloud services. How we ensure whoever service provider comply. What happens is that in most cases, industry and companies, they just leave to the vendors or service provider to handle security. But for the point of view by cyber security professional, it's not good. When it comes to cyber security, you must take charge. You must impose your requirement. You cannot leave to other parties to handle. So these are the challenges. So, and everything is about trust. How trust are we in the cloud services, and how can we impose? And based on this requirement, we can work from there. And to neglect the use of cloud computing may be impossible nowadays because we need to get technologies. But the challenge is how we impose our requirement and how we can put trust in the service and how we can work together with all parties, especially the vendors and service provider. At the end of the day, we have to meet our goals. Yeah? We want to meet our goals. So these are the things that we have to consider, the risk management and the investment that we have to do. But the goal is how we can meet strategic objectives and how cyber security serves as enabler. Our cyber environment is safe and secure to enable the top management or the company to meet the objective. So we are here, cyber security professional. We don't work in isolation. Our job here is to function as enabler, to make sure the top management, to make sure the company meet the objective. But how we pass the ideas is the challenge.
So we have a few questions in the related to technology, related firewalls, related to penetration tests. I will not go through this in details, but again, and I'd like to relay some of my colleagues said, right, is that technology is just a small part, right, of the equation. And obviously, if you don't have any firewalls, if you don't have any, if you don't do any penetration of your application before you deploy, then of course you increase your risk level. So I would say there is some hygiene that needs to be done, and technology can be a good way. But let's not be mistaken in the end. A lot of the people who hack you will exploit not the technology, will exploit weaknesses in your organization. Whether your suppliers, whether your process, whether your government, and that is seen again and again. Right? It's rarely a technology challenge unless you have absolutely nothing in place, right? Which these days most companies have invested in the right. So this is why we urge you, right, to really look at it from an organization. As the biggest threat is the external person, right, but also your input. Okay, how much time we have left? I don't think we have a lot of time left. We are on the top of half an hour. So, you guys have any parting comment you would like to make in terms of cybersecurity in your own organization, in terms of your plans to address some of the challenges that you had, with the remote working, related to regulation, as we discussed, simply the ability to justify. So I will open the floor here if you like.
Maybe overall, Alain, if I may share my perspective.
Yes, thanks.
The truth is that cyber security cannot cope with technology because technology moves very fast. No matter what we do in cyber security, we must expect cyber attack will happen. So, of course, we have to plan, we have to analyze and put the best security measures in place. But from experience and all the previous lesson learned, you can see that cyber attack will happen because the criminal, the bad guys are always ahead. But more importantly, how we detect if there is any intrusion, because that's why cybersecurity go beyond technical. So our ability to, for example, to predict cyber threat, and if it does intrude our system, how fast we detect and how we respond to cyber attack in order to minimize the losses, so that we can continue function and to secure our interest, the interest of stakeholders and customer, and at the end of the day, we meet our objective. So it is more than technical issues. It's about procedures. And it's about how we look into the whole ecosystem. And at the end of the day, we have to be adaptive to the rapidly changing threat environment.
Actually, yeah, thank you. I think I agree. There was an interesting question I'd like actually in the panel, is that what would be your advice to small and medium companies? Because obviously the task is pretty daunting, yeah, in terms of investment. And those a lot of these small and medium companies, if they want to be there, they need to be online. They need to provide services online, e-commerce, will be exposed in such a form to them. So we need to kind of address these cybersecurity challenges. They will need to invest. So what would be your advice to the small and medium company who don't have necessarily the deep pocket that the big enterprise you're serving?
Yeah, it might not be very popular amongst cybersecurity experts, but I'm the CTO, the cybersecurity, the CISO of RAC is someone else. I think you need to be sensitive with return of investment of what you do, right? You cannot build an infrastructure for a scale. It doesn't matter if it's cybersecurity or if it's any other thing at a pace that outpaces your business in any case. I would advise that there are a lot of cloud providers these days that give you a the basic support and the basics tool to do it, included with the flexibility and the capability of scaling up. So and they have a lot of programs to start for free in a very in the low tiers, right? So most of them, or at a very cheap cost. So I would put I would put that part of my organization, if I would be an SME, into some of these ones, because they will do the best that they can for you. You might outpace them with your business and doing fancy stuff, but then you will find that moment where you have to catch up, right, with that, and put your own tools. It happened also to us, moving from an airline to somewhere else. We had one use case, and until we didn't expand, we didn't need to move beyond that, right? And for a small, medium company, if you put your budget in protecting you, maybe you kill all your sales at the end of the day. So be careful, and there are a lot of cool solutions in cloud or software as a service out there that can help you have an 80% level of security, we want to call it that way, that is enough for you guys.
I agree with you. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so I think, yes, go ahead, Ricky. Yeah.
Sorry, Alan, this is Eric here. Now, so coming from us as a technology provider, right? There are two parts. The SMI SME is very key, right? As they pivot their business from brick and mortar to to the e-commerce and so on and so forth. As what Pablo has mentioned, the advice is make sure they have to address the standard security that enables their online transaction, whether it is to their customers, to their suppliers, and so forth. Right? Because the cost, you see, the cost of not, or rather, the effect of not adhering to that will be far more greater if they ever come into circumstances of a cyber threat. Right. On the other side, as what you have mentioned earlier, how do we, from a cyber security, I think I totally agree with Sazli. We have to look into this from the whole ecosystem, as well as from the end-to-end perspective, right? Even as of now, when we work with our customers to look into develop their application for their customers, we have to work in the security department or security folks at the beginning stage of their development journey. This is to make sure that coming from not just from a technology, but from a process and also from the people, we have to address it early to find the gap before that services will be rolled out to the public.
That's right. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session. I think we are at the end of it. It was very insightful. I appreciate for your time, and I hand back to Pan for the rest of the afternoon. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hello, my beautiful audience. We hope you've enjoyed the power panel as much as we did. I would like to give a thank you to Pablo, Colonel Sazali, Encik Nur Hisham, Eric, and Elaine for such an insightful and engaging discussion. There was a lot of back and forth. That was great. Thank you so much. And also for the audience for sending in your questions. It was a great honor to have all of you guys powering this event together. All right, guys. As I've mentioned earlier, we're giving away 3 cool prizes at each of the 4 sessions of this conference. And all you need to do is help us complete a short survey by scanning the QR code that is shown on your screen. Or you can go to bit.ly/digi digifin survey 2. That is DIGIFINSURVEY 2. We will be announcing the 3 winners of the session tomorrow morning. So quick scan or go to the website. We also have 2 more awesome sessions in this 2-day conference, and we will kick off tomorrow morning with a power panel on going walletless and the future of consumerism. Big topics. The panel will be participated by Domino's Pizza, Pincent Masons and Advertising Standards Authority of Singapore, Transport for New South Wales, Australia, and it will be moderated by our knowledge partner, Kanta Malaysia. Then our Terabyte partner, Fundastic, will be sharing about the P2P or peer-to-peer financing. We will then wrap up tomorrow morning with a power panel that will be discussing the role of fintech, insurtech, and regtech in boosting resilience and operational excellence of financial services. The panel will be participated by Bank Rakyat, Fundastic, Manulife Insurance, Standard Chartered Malaysia, and it will be moderated by our Star Media Group senior news editor. If you're as excited as I am about tomorrow's session, you can go up and read up ahead and learn more about the conference agenda here and the speaker profiles by scanning the QR code on the top right of your screen, or you can go to bit.ly/stardgfin. Please also share this event with your colleagues and industry peers. If you've enjoyed the discussions and the questions and what you've learned today, please do spread the love to all of your friends. I would also love to get to know them. If you need any assistance from us, please do email us at events@thestar.com.my. I'm signing out, but this page will remain live in the next 10 minutes. So please remember to complete the short survey and stand a chance to win one of these 3 cool prizes. So thank you, and I look forward to welcoming you again tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Bye.
Do you find yourself rushing to send trade transaction documents before bank's cutoff time? Are you having trouble tracking your transaction status? Do you dread going through endless phone calls just to find out your available balance? Well, you don't have to anymore. Introducing the Alliance BizSmart mobile app, the first in Malaysia that lets you submit trade transactions anytime, anywhere. No more hard copy documents. Submit everything online. Track your available balance and transaction status online. Fast disbursement of funds within 24 hours upon approval. Just follow these steps. 1. Log in to the BizSmart mobile app. 2. Key in the transaction details. 3. Upload the documents and submit for payment authorizer approval. And 4. You will receive a notification upon approval. Now, you can spend more time on growing your business. The Alliance BizSmart mobile app. Speak to our dedicated relationship manager to find out more.
Enterprise data. It's your most valuable resource, but managing your data is challenging and complex, and it's not generating enough strategic value. Your data is siloed, and it's fragmented both within those silos as well as across data centers, remote offices, and clouds. Multiple point solutions to manage your data further compound the fragmentation problem. You also maintain multiple copies of the same data, which is inefficient and expensive. And your data is dark. It's almost impossible to see what you have and where it's stored. To extract any value, you have to move volumes of data across silos and locations. All these challenges create a significant problem for the enterprise. We call this mass data fragmentation. At Cohesity, we take a revolutionary approach to bringing value to your data. We looked at how hyperscalers like Google answered this challenge in the consumer space. They consolidated consumer data onto a web-scale file system and added a layer of manageability to make it appear as a single platform. Then they exposed the value of that data through apps and services. At Cohesity, we are doing the same for enterprise data. We start by consolidating infrastructure with a software-defined web-scale platform. And just like Google first focused on building a great search engine, we focused on creating a great backup solution across clouds and data centers. Then we eliminated additional silos by bringing together your archive, file shares, dev test, and analytics. We provide one global management console so you can search and manage all your data from a single interface, no matter where it lives. Next, you can run apps and services to run your business-critical needs, such as ransomware protection, compliance checks, analytics, e-discovery, and much more. All in a single software solution that spans your data centers and multi-cloud environments. Cohesity, data management redefined.
Today and every day, you are doing the impossible. In a time that's been completely unpredictable, you're doing it with so little time and under so much pressure. You are juggling and jabbing, mobilizing and modernizing, remote learning and emphasis on the learning.
Sorry, guys. I don't know how to turn this thing off.
You are traveling and transforming, researching and resilienting. Okay, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. You are watching and welcoming, opening and, oh, wait, now you're closing, and now you're opening again. For businesses around the world, it's a real challenge because increasing disruption comes with increasing complexity and an increasing need to have today's problems solved yesterday. That's why businesses are rethinking everything. Using hybrid cloud and AI with IBM, they're working not just productively, but predictively. Automating processes to simplify the complex, keeping private data protected, and adapting to ever-changing consumer habits. In a year that was like no other, businesses are taking a scientific approach with IBM to invent, discover, and solve problems like no one else. There's a lot to do, but together, we've got this. Together, we push, prove, demo, dare, work, wow, solve, spark, think.
Change happens, with or without our input. It can be imposed upon us, pushed at us, mandated. But we can take control and transform with intent. We can choose to embrace change openly. To us, change is a state of being, not a box to check. It's the journey and the destination. It's a wider view, revealing better business outcomes. But the path is critical, because you can't change the whole without transforming the way. So it's time we leave impossible behind and open possibilities. Let's use open technology to work smarter. Let's open the process for efficiency and freedom. And let's build an open culture on empowerment and collaboration. Together, we can put digital transformation into practice. It can't happen in a vacuum, but an organization can transform using an open approach. With Red Hat, you can open your future. Open your technology. Open your process. Open your culture. Open possibility.
Visa pioneered the electronic payments business more than 60 years ago, envisioning a world in which paying for something could be translated into electrons and photons that move across the globe at the speed of light.
The consumer may access an infinite range of goods and services whenever he chooses, wherever he may be.
Today, there are 3.4 billion Visa credentials around the world, from the largest cities to remote communities across the globe.